Coast area. So it was just absolutely an incredible experience. And wow, what do you want to say, Paul? I mean, do you have anything else to add to that?
You know, it was just it's amazing. We were out on a sailboat for all week, and just fun watching Shireen managing and talking to folks and having a good time while we're enjoying just the beautiful weather and the water, and it was just an amazing experience.
Not too shabby, realizing that you've changed a lot of lives since getting started. Are you glad I'm glad you said yes to coaching Shireen? I know you told Lori no originally.
I did. I fought her for like 2 months. and I said, oh, I don't know, Lori, I don't know. But I have to say that it has been one of the best decisions I have ever made. And especially not knowing what this was going to look like over 5 years ago, Brad, looking back on that, I can't even imagine not saying yes to this. My life would have been so very, very different had I not said yes.
Well, I'm so glad you did. It's been a great ride. Glad you and Paul are here with us. Congrats on living the integrated life. Really enjoying it, and just watching you guys have so much fun on so many levels. We could go on all day, but go ahead, open up the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from tonight. We're going to dive in tonight and make it short. And while everyone's doing that real quick, my name is Brad Miller. If you don't know me, I'm one of the hosts of this call. And we've had a great 4 weeks. This is our 5th week going alongside doing learning the steps, the systems that make all the difference. And I've got to say, you guys have been doing your homework on this. Let me just grab something real quick here. I mean, the month's not even over yet, and I know we want to keep this call short, even though tonight's topic's going to be really good. But let's just give some props just really quick. And this is the only ones I could catch up on like as of an hour ago. So Nicole Rodriguez, new integrated national 3 months. Congratulations. Debbie Blackwell, FIBC 3rd month. Abby Cook, FIBC 1st month. Lisa Yeakley, FIBC 3rd month. Lynette, FIBC 1st month. Danae and DJ, 1st month FIBC. Congratulations. Lisa and Steve, you guys too, 1st month FIBC. And the Lee Card, 1st month executive director. And then you guys have obviously been becoming pros. We've had like the most record number of big thinkers come this month here. So Lisa K, Kelly L, Tori R, Laureen K, Misty B, Christina H, Michelle and Barb, Nicole, Julie and Kenny, Denise. You guys are like just like right there. You're like $200 away. So I thought I'd include you, knowing that we have like a few hours left in the month. So just guys around like across the board, congratulations on everything. Like give yourself a prop. If you guys are seeing the results from your consistency, because this is about the week. If you guys have seen it, then I'm glad. Now, don't answer the question yet because we haven't really got there. But if you've started to see the results of your consistency, I am going to ask you a question here in a second. But you haven't even actually seen the culmination of it yet. Like it actually starts coming in the month of September, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but it also kicks in after about like 5-6 weeks is where you really see it. But for some of those, because I know you guys have been seeing like the first part of it, drop me a 1 in the chat if you have seen the consistency from the last 5 weeks pay off dividends. Like, and drop me a 1 and a 2 if you're like ultra surprised by how much it's actually been happening. I get like all these things like, it's working. Oh my gosh, I have another health assessment. Oh my gosh, this person wants to coach. Like, I just love it. I love, like I talked about it on my birthday, like action is my love language, because just like watching your guys' excitement, like after you get after action is like the best thing in the world. That's why it's like my favorite thing. That's where breakthrough happens. But anyways, I digress. You guys have all obviously had great months. Tonight's call, we're going to keep really short because it's the last day of the month. And some of you guys are like, guys, I got to go sign up clients. I got to finish up my month. So we all knew what the goal of these 6 weeks are, and we're not even through the 6 weeks yet. But you guys have accomplished a lot. I can't give enough props to you guys on where you're at. And I'm going to give my personal Brad disclaimer that I always give. There's always something to celebrate. And this whole thing is a whole health journey. We're changing our physical health, our healthy mind, our finances. Heck yeah, like I can't wait to do the post at the beginning of the month where we start calculating our income, because that's getting like, it's just growing for people every single month. And you guys know my thing on that too. You can't fake it. The only way you earn income is by doing the real work, and you can't fake that. So, but you guys know my also thing is don't compare yourself to anyone else here. That's only going to stifle your creativity, your fun. Like, Shireen, actually, I'm really glad you and Paul shared, because we've had that conversation. If I can be transparent with everyone here, can I get a nod actually if it's okay if I am? Like you've shared multiple times that that's your thing that you've had to get over. And I've never seen you so on fire because you let that go and you stayed in your lane. So another thing about this is you can always compare your worst to somebody else's best. Make sure you're giving yourself props today on whatever it is that you did well this month. If you're here right now, give yourself a pat on the back. You stayed consistent, and that's where breakthrough happens. But anyways, I'm just moving faster here because I want to get to the topic tonight. We covered a lot. Last week, actually dropped me a 2 in the chat. If anyone just had like a from like Lindsay and Ashley breaking down like the setup of integration and the topics of setting up, moving to coaching quickly. Has anyone tried that out this week? Did that like change the course of it? I know some of you guys really paid attention because some of the integration calls I did this week were really, really well taken care of, and we totally dove into the 4 components. So awesome stuff. So that's what we're going to dive in today is we're going to kind of round out this month by talking about some cool things. And I'm going to move through them quickly. I don't have in-depth slides because I want to get to the last thing that we're going to do, which is have some people share, because I'll get to this here in a second. But basically what we're going to cover tonight is coaching, a little bit of the nuances of coaching clients in their first month that make all the difference. You know, there's going to be so many different variables. They might have started coaching already. They might be dripped on coaching. They may be referring. They may be having a great time. They may be having a hard time. But there are certain things that make all the difference. And if you really take some notes tonight, you'll notice, just like everyone that's reaching the 10K club that's in action, there's these little tweaks that take you from almost boiling to boiling. And that's what we're going to cover tonight. And then we're going to hit on a little bit. This is always a little bit of a hard topic to cover. But we're going to talk about coaching different plans and exercising on plans. So actually feel free to have the chat ready. We're going to go over that. And then I have some stories tonight on how to, it's not going to be as much about finishing October or August strong because you guys have already done that. It's going to be really more about like the key to building on momentum from your August. People that were in the same place, if you're building towards ED or newer executive director or honestly wherever you're at in your business, people that made the decision to move forward. I had a hard time picking it, but I have 5 people that are going to quickly drop some knowledge facts on that. So you guys all with me? Can I get a 3 in the chat if you guys are good to roll tonight? All right, cool. I figured as much. All right, let's get into it. I'm not going to hit the consistency. You guys know what's coming, but I will park on it for a second. September is probably the month that I talk about most because it's like 2nd January. It's the time where people are so discombobulated from like being worn out from summer, from partying too much, from the kids, you know, driving them all over the place, from too many vacations. They are just like craving structure. So I don't know if you guys have already started to see these messages from people pouring in, okay, please help me, I need some help. Or your clients that are coming back, like, I know I've been out of touch, like, can you help me? Like, again, I've asked to chat a lot tonight, but can you drop me a 4 if you had a few of those messages peeking in the last 2 weeks? Has anyone got those? I know I've got a ton, so I know you guys have probably got a ton. So that's what you're going to start to see after Labor Day. So this is the time to remain uber consistent on this stuff. And then also just another reminder, like, because this is the time to look down at your map and be like, all right, is it ratty? Is it tatty? Did I use it up? Is it good? Because what you focus on and what grows, and I can't really put enough emphasis on this, that this is what makes a big difference is staying focused, using your map on this stuff. So some of you new coaches, one of the action steps is going to be using your map if you're a senior coach and above as we start this month. So that's going to bring us to the next topic. We already talked about the water boiling. And I'm going to bring on Dawn Chow. Dawn, are you there with me tonight?
I sure am, Brad. How's it going?
It's going good. I want to talk about this topic just like kind of just really lightly and over the top. I didn't want to get into the nuances of it because Ashley and Lindsay, and then Lindsay did it week before, really covered the setup really well. And we all learned through this little bit is if we are sharing boldly on social media, if we do the health assessment really well and ask really good questions, and we take really good notes, and we do the daily text, and we do the first week in probably coaching or whichever way it goes, by the time they do the first week, really, that's basically the main part of it, right? Like that's like that really what you model by that, or actually I'll just ask you, what do you see? Like it's kind of hard to go backwards after you've done that part. So the better you can start them, like the easier the rest of this part gets.
Yeah, no, it really is. You put the time and the attention up front, so you build trust and you set the framework and the example like Lindsay and Ashley showed, so that they know what to expect moving forward. They know what their role is. They know what your role is. And it's like, it makes your week celebrations simple and quick. And then they know where to bring people to you so that you can put them together. It like sets up everything, what's to come.
Exactly. So a lot of people, I've actually seen a lot of the questions, people saying, okay, what do I, how do I actually coach my clients? Because we have a lot of new coaches in here, and for some of us, it's always a good review to just come back to that basics. I think a lot of us are also in that realm of like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to like, by the way, if you guys have been in crazy action, like just know that probably one of the action steps today will include double checking your schedule, because after you kind of get into a lot of action, it can get a little bit, no, we've had that conversation before. So I wanted to pick it up where Ashley and Lindsay talked about confirming they're in fat burning. This is going to be one step that's so key, because we don't really, like, we always talk about like supporting, calling for the first 4 days, but they really hit it well by saying we want to make sure that we confirm they're in fat burn. That's really how we move on. And that's also back to what they were talking about, is what's going to make the difference on that integration call. Because so many people, I get on integration calls with them, and the client's actually not even technically in fat burn. And we miss all those cool things that Lindsay and Ashley talked about, because I spend time actually going back to the basics of plan. So this is all good. This is why we review it. But like, just reviewing the basics: more energy, lower hunger. Like, is there improved sleep or clarity? Like, you know, all those things. Like, are the headaches gone if they ever had any during the first little bit? This is so key, because I will tell you, because I kind of took a pulse on this, I would say about at least 30% of clients don't actually really know what fat burning is. So it's so key on that 4th day, because they probably, even though you might have explained it, they might not even catch that that's actually like, they're going to go off and eat like an ice cream cone and be like, oh, it's all good, I'm back on tomorrow. And that's fine. That's part of the journey. We never want to scold anyone. Like, someone asked me like 3 questions, or I got like a bunch of questions today that was like, can someone have this on plan? Can someone have this? Is this allowed on plan? I'm like, yes, everything's allowed on plan, because everything is a choice. We are making a choice to move forward in our health. Will it affect their fat burning? Yes. Will it not really match up with their goals? Yes. But yeah, everything's allowed on plan. You can have anything you want on plan. So does that make sense? Like, Don, is there anything you want to add to that? Because a lot of people don't realize, like just because we taught it doesn't mean they caught it with what fat burning is. Still, they think it's like a gimmicky thing. So I just wanted to review this for a second, because it's so key.
Yeah, it's so key. And in fact, most people don't catch it, because very few people have experienced it. So I find that, you know, not everybody hits fat burn on day 4, right? Some people hit fat burn on day 3. Some people, it takes till day 5. You coach them a certain way until they get into fat burn, but the day 4 confirming, are they asking those questions? A lot of people are like, oh, I woke up this morning and I like left the house with 30 minutes to spare, so much energy. Does that mean I'm in fat burn? And that's when you can congratulate them. And then you get to say, I'm so excited when you get to hop on with my coach on day 7, because we get to celebrate that you're in fat burn and all the great things that you're accomplishing. So they don't know what it is. So for us to really like lay it out. And then an example, Brad, Amber and I did a 7-day an integration call with one of her clients a couple weeks ago. And she had been in fat burn and had confirmed it, and then ate like a piece of cake. Day 6, like I can't remember exactly what it was, but went to a birthday party. So on day 7, I was like, great. So we confirmed in fact, well, actually I was, but now I think I'm not. And so it was a great learning, teaching point to be like, hey, you know what? It's all right. Now we get to focus on what happens next, and you get to learn. You know how great you felt. Now you know to not be in fat burn. She's like, yeah, I'm getting back to fat burn as quick as my little booty will take me, and I'm staying there. So how cool is that you get to like lay that foundation for what that's like. So
exactly. So it sets, one, we talked about it will set up the integration call so much better. I know after last week, that's everyone's goal, basically, to make sure that gets set up really well. But also it helps them, because we're not going to be the diet police to these people. And I've had a few health assessments this week where they were on programs before, or they were working with people where that's the case. We want to just inform them so we can support them on where their goals are going to. And so this is so key, because that's when it's like, all right, check. Like I always like to tell them, great job. You accomplished step 1 of plan. And now you know you're in fat burning. And that kind of confirms some of those things. This is also the other thing, because a lot of people, I had a bunch of people too. I just love how many new coaches are coming in and learning the basics, Don. Like I'm just like having flashbacks to like when I got started with coaching. This is the time. You don't need to check in with your clients on the day, weekly, the day that they started. You can have a check-in day, because they're gonna like their plan's gonna vary. This is a health journey, not a weekly weigh-in journey. So when you do that, make sure you congratulate them. Check, first goal is accomplished. The next step is connecting on your weekly celebration check-in day, and that's where you want to let them know when that is. So many people, like I get this from new coaches, like one, they'll just be exhausted because they're calling their clients all the time, or they'll be frustrated because their clients aren't picking up. And my first question will be, well, did you tell them when you'd be checking in with them? And they said, no, I did not. So I'm like, well, then how would they know to expect your phone call? So that's why it's so key. They know it's coming. You know you're doing it. It's easy. That's a big one right there. And this basically, after you've done this, the rest is just cake from here. Bad analogy, I know, but still, like, it's the fact that you've really set this up going forward. They know what to expect. You've laid it out. I think Ashley's like the best of this. She always says, you know, you can text me whatever you need. I'll also touch base probably one other time a week for your first month, because we do want to touch base twice with our clients during their first 4 weeks. But, you know, really, if I do it any more than that, like, there's just not that much stuff going on. But feel free to celebrate every little thing. Like, that's why we talk at least once a week. It's key that we stay connected for your success. I'm going to read something real quick. Dawn, is there anything that you've seen that's really key on this? Because I just want to make sure we get the tee up, because it's all like I think about two things during people's first journey is how I move them into that next phase and how I'm setting up their integration call, and what happens at the very end of when I help them update their order.
Right. And the first step, Brad, with just guaranteeing that they are in fat burn, if that's where they're headed for and that's the program they're on, because if we skip that step, week 2 will come around, and if they weren't in fat burn, their weight loss is slow, they're going to be hungry and they're going to fall off, and they're going to go away, and they're not going to understand that the program, they weren't actually following it. So you can catch so much in that first week when you just slow down to make sure that you double check those steps. And then also it gives you the opportunity to layer their journey, because they're human, is going to resonate with so many other people. Like, oh my goodness, how awesome that this is going to, you know, probably inspire so many people around you, because you're real and this is working into your life. Look at how far you've come. So that's the first step, is that making sure they're in fat burn, and that we slow down to actually confirm that they are before we hop on the integration call.
Yeah.
Because you hop on the integration call and you have to go back to the basics and confirm your fat burn. It just means you get to do another integration call like the next week.
Yes,
but
exactly.
And making sure that they know how to update that second order. Those are the key things in the first month.
Yeah. So what I like about this as well is if you're using the daily text, it talks about fat burn. It also, because the bottom here says remind to focus on layering, coaching, and awakening throughout this process. The daily text really actually hit coaching quite a bit. It also hits fat burning quite a bit. So that's another benefit of using that and helping guide them to that. So the last final things on this is where I let them know what's next. I make sure they're ready for the weekend. Most people start on a Monday, which means they're like, right, that big victory might get squashed by their weekend. So I'm always making sure they navigate their first weekend really well, because that's not fun when they do really well that first weekend and then they head right into a weekend. And then I always ask them just any questions before I let you go. It's so key. And then I just keep on going. So this is the other part I want to talk about, because we also hit on last week, like how you set up an integration call. And so I think we've all got that down. Day 6 tech sets it up. But on the next week, and actually, Dawn, I lost an entire slide here, so you're going to have to bear with me on this. I'm actually going to go back here just so we have a clear slide. When we moved it to that day, I let them know it's going to be just a short touch base, because again, it doesn't need to be long. And again, if you have chatty Cathys, like if you let them know it'll only be like 3 to 8 minutes, then they also know to keep the chatty Cathy short. And the people that are busy, because most people are busy, they're going to know, hey, I can fit this in my schedule. So make sure to let them know how much it takes ahead of time. But Dawn, what are the 4 points? And I'm going to have to get the slide and post it later. What are the 4 points you really, it's basically the outline, like an outline. We have an outline of a health assessment. What's the outline of your calls each week?
Yeah. Brad, do you want me to share the slide? Because I have it up.
See, you saved me. There you go.
Hang on just a second. Let me.
Oh, I have to.
All right, hang on. Let me grab the slide real quick.
And while Dawn's pulling that up, is this information a good review or helpful for you? Can I get a 1 in the chat if it is?
Yeah, hopefully it is, guys.
So this is the money part right here. And a lot of you are actually going to be getting good at the sponsoring. And here's the other quick thing too. Everything in your business duplicates. You can't do for something for one of your clients and then expect them to coach any differently. So I'm just also saying that because at the end of the month, I'm cleaning up some things that were modeled wrong. And the coach of that coach is like, why are they doing that? I'm like, because you did it. Because you did it. And that's okay. But the more you dial this in, one, the simpler it's going to be, the better your systems are, the better choice, that 1 degree point of boiling but also everything duplicates much better. So hopefully, like, I think the chat likes it, Tom, just from what I can tell right here. But
Okay,
yes,
good.
maybe it's just me. I can't ever get enough of this information. This is like my favorite.
Yeah, like the real stuff. Like, okay, guys, for real, what does it look like on your weekly check-ins? And case in point, Brad, I'll never forget my first couple of, I'm going to say years coaching, where I thought I had a bunch of special snowflakes, but they need more time. They need 20 minutes, and guess what? I was exhausted, and I wasn't bringing on coaches, and they weren't helping their friends and family, because who wants to spend hours on the phone each week? Nobody. So, all right, you guys, this is the weekly client check-in slide. And notice this is from months and months ago, because we train the same thing, the same basics. It says 5 to 10 minutes, but like Brad said, 3 to 5 minutes really, when you're in your groove. And usually that's past that first month. But the call layout is always 4 simple questions, and it's kind of a variation of, the first one is, how did this last week go on program? Notice I didn't say, how'd your week go? Because I don't really want them to talk about their cat or their dog or their, all of that. I want to know specifically, how did their last week on program go? And so I'm listening for things like, I'm listening for their wins. I'm listening for their scale victories or non-scale victories, because that's what people will lead off with. Sometimes they'll say what they're really proud of themselves over. Like they made it through a potluck and they did their lean and green, things like that. So I'm taking notes and writing their wins down in that one first question. How did your last week go on program? And then I want to guide them to the integrating part. I want to ask them, what are they learning? What are they enjoying? What have they celebrated in their client support page? What did they learn on the habit call? What did they learn in chapter 6 of the book? Because we talked about that, and maybe that was what they were going to read that week. I'm looking at my notes and I'm looking back, and I'm always asking questions that guide them back to integrating into the community. I'm not telling them or sharing information from the book. I'm guiding them to it, letting them read it or listen to it or participate, and then I'm asking them for what they learned or what they're enjoying or what they're celebrating. And the third question is, did you come across any questions? Did you come across anything that just jumped out at you that you wanted to ask me? And so we talk about that. And sometimes this is where we talk about maybe they're not getting enough sleep or they're not getting their water in. So I might give them some tips or some ideas. And then I ask them, okay, are you ready for this next week? What would you like to focus on or work on this next week? Do you have any big things coming up that you'd like my help with? And so we talk about that. And then lastly, or usually somewhere woven in here, I'm going to ask them, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You're down 5 pounds. I bet your pants are fitting different. Anyone noticing? Anyone cheering you on? Anyone noticing drinking water or anything like that? I'm just listening to noticing, because again, the more people that join them on program, the better they're going to do, the more chances they have of cheering those people on and becoming coaches. And then I get to listen for, is it time to reiterate what do you do with all the people that are noticing? Because they've got 2 options. They can send them to me. I'd be honored, but the better thing is to coach them together. And then I'll walk through how to do that. So those are the 4 questions, Brad. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think it's so good of a review, because it really is these questions. And I'm like, as you're going through, I'm like, yes, these are the things that changed my coaching like so much. And I really look at this as in like, maybe I will ask who's noticing, but really it's more of like every question for me is like, I am looking to find out who's noticing. I want to know more about this person's world. Yes, I want more clients, and yes, I want to facilitate the next steps, but really I want to get a better snapshot of what their week looks like, so I can better support the person on the other side. Like Nicole, just props to you on what you posted in the support page right before we popped in here. You were able to be present enough with your client to know that, this isn't normal, but like they were crying because they were so scared of possibly failing. Like you were that involved with what's going on with that, and you were able to step into that. That's one, it's going to facilitate the breakthrough of coaching or referrals, but it's going to help you be more entrenched in their journey. Not in like involved, but like you're going to know what you're supporting them through, which is so key. I love like, what are you learning about the habits of health, and pointing back to the community. Don, so good that you hit on that, because you have to layer that. Most people don't know how to interact in a group or how to do this. You have to invite them or show them multiple times. Like one of my favorite things, like that is a perfect Victor. Do you know who would support you on that? Because we just talked about community the week before. community, go put that in there and see that, oh, I don't know if that'll be, yes, go get that thing, or like it'll lift someone up, whichever the thing is. There's really no right or wrong way. I love these 4 questions because it allows you to maneuver really well wherever you're at. And if you just follow this layout, calls will be short, simple, you'll be duplicatable, and you'll build a really strong relationship with your clients. And the last thing I like to do is I always make a note of something important. I always look back at last week's before I call my clients so I can bring up what we talked about last week or something recently, because that really makes them feel special, and it doesn't take me much time to be able to just stand up, like write up one tab before where I was about to write down some notes.
Brad, can I add one thing that I think is super brilliant, especially since you just had the health assessment that you were holding up there? You guys, have you ever been coaching a client and it's like they don't really have anything? Like maybe they're just not a talker, or maybe they just didn't dive into the community in the past week, and you ask, so what are you learning, or what are you enjoying? Maybe not too much? Anything? Like crickets? I go back to the front of the health assessment, and over here on the right-hand side are all of the key steps to health that we're going to be walking alongside them on this whole journey. So pick one of these, or ask them to remember back to the health assessment when you talked about these, and bring one of these up to then start structurally coaching them through each week. We always have a plethora of things to talk about, even if they aren't maybe diving into the conversation. So I don't know if that helps, but I use that a lot.
It totally helps because you have a reference point of like, if you ever like, what do I say? You just say these things. And my favorite thing right here is the last question. Actually, everything's my favorite. So what are you ready for this next week? What would you like to focus on? You're asking them what they want to take on in their health journey, and you're kind of gauging where they're at. So again, this takes a little bit of work because you're also gauging, like maybe there's someone you've layered with, maybe they're thinking about coaching, maybe your dad wants. So you have to remember where you're at in the relationship with them. You know, if you're really thinking big and thinking bold, like look at the front of that paper and your notes on them. But these are the recipe. This is the layout, how to keep your coaching simple, duplicatable, and how to create breakthrough one step at a time with your clients. So really good call, Don. Here, I'm glad you were able to grab that slide. I wasn't sure if you were able to get it for me. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen real quick. Let's see here. All right. So this was the last thing I was going to bring up because a lot of people ask this question right here. Because actually, Don, you know the stats on this. They pulled the stats, and it's like a client's success rate goes up dramatically if you touch base with them twice in their first month, right? Like, what do you have the numbers on that? I can't remember what it was, but I'll give you this study.
It's like 30 or 40%. I don't quote me on that exactly, guys. I'll find the actual stats and I'll put it in the page. It goes up dramatically if you face with them twice in their first month. So that's not 2 phone calls, but that's a phone call and a text message or something.
Yep. So you'll notice on your first month with them, there's a second box for a check-in. The way that I personally made it simple for myself is we have this thing called Follow-Up Friday, right? Where we're already delving into relationships. We're already making connections. We're already touching base with people. I personally just do mine. I generally do text on. What do you do? Like, do you generally do a second text, or do you do a phone call?
I usually do a second text, or what I'll do is I'll send a recording of the Habits of Health call or a little tip or something. I'm doing something that adds value and invites them back into the community, or I'll ask them a question and invite them to like go comment on a post in the client support page or something.
Good. Awesome. I love that. Like, so something that brings value to them, another touch, another connection, because they're in that world where it was not getting them what they want. We need to make sure we're just doing a touch with them as they're getting their feet underneath them. So that's what's made it really simple for us. You just make those notes of those things. Maybe make a note on what you talked about like the week before, or what they're working on, or something special with where they're at. But that's what that second box is there for. So that's an easy way to schedule that. And then here's my last and final point, because I think if you get really good practice of this is what really makes a difference. So these are the keys that make the difference, is help them learn that this is about practice. That is hands down. Like, you notice how on the health assessment that we talk about different plans and we talk about figuring out what your favorite thing's going to be during your first month? It's because it's all practice, and we can really get this. People will beat themselves up. We have to let them know like that this is okay to make practice. We still need to fight for their goals and want them to like, you know, really encourage them to move forward. But we want them to make sure they're not holding themselves to a perfect standard, because if you're trying for perfection, you're just only setting yourself up for failure. Guide them to the community, build that relationship, be bold. You are the guide. Like back to our coaching before, like you're the guide. Don't let your client really tell you how it is. I mean, support them with autonomy, but know that, like Don, if someone was being coached by you, it's like, have they lost 50 pounds and kept it off for this many years? No, they have not. So they probably should listen to you. Just a thought. And then plug them in the community, celebrate them in the support page. over deliver. I really try to focus on spending, like really building that relationship during that first month. And then remind them, lay hints and next steps there. Always let people know what's next. It makes people so, like, it makes them so have so much clarity. And this is my last and final thing real quick here. So on the support during their first month, this is my litmus test. So on their third week, they're going to receive this email. And for me personally, this is just good. I don't know if this is helpful for you. Actually, can I get a 1 in chat if this is helpful for like this review? Like, it's been so helpful for me to like actually review this PowerPoint before we got. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be such a great coach this week. This is my litmus test. I'm going to step into their world. They're going to get this email. Everyone has gotten really rotten auto orders before, but ours is part of a program of health for life. And this is where it's like signed, sealed, and delivered for my clients. And also for duplication if they're going to become coaches or already are coaches by this time. When they get that email, I want them to think, I'm having success. I'm getting this. I want them to think about how much they've accomplished. I want them to think that there's value in our relationship. I want them to feel like they can accomplish their goals, and I want them to be like, oh my gosh, is this something I want to continue, rather than the latter. Does that make sense what I'm talking about? So, and on my second week, that's when I let them know. As they finish up their second week, that's when I let them know, hey, next week, you're going to receive an update for your order. It's going to give you plenty of notice. You'll get 2 updates on it. Just connect with me. I'll show you how to update it. So I'm prefacing that for all those people that are like, oh, my client canceled their order or blah, 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 blah. I try to get out ahead of everything with my clients. And then they're like, oh, they know exactly what to do. They get that email. Hey, Brad said this email was going to come. It builds trust. Like, Don, anything you want to add to this? Like, I've noticed, like, when I got really good at doing this is when, like, the trust factor went up a ton with my clients. I mean, especially the ones that were referrals that I didn't have relationships with first.
Oh, absolutely. It goes up a ton. And then the fact that you are watching and you see the email come through and maybe, so I like to send a text when I get that 7-day email. I send them a text, hey, email should have showed up. Let's hop in and edit your order. Here's how you do it. The texts you get back from that are, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm going to go do it right now. I'm so excited. Do you have any things I should try? And it's just kind of a neat way to really build that solid foundation of trust. Know that you have their back. And then you also are empowering them to be independent, to go in, to edit and update their own orders, and it's in their world then.
Yep, exactly. So as we wrap up here on this topic, oops, that's the one I want to go back here. When you're done with the week 1, when I've helped them update their order, there's a video in Simple Systems. I just send them that order. Hey, here's how you update your order. 22 to 23 boxes will take care of 3 months. I let them be grown-ups and take care of their own stuff. A lot of people are like, why do my clients only order half orders? Well, you have to go back and check that you actually let them know how many boxes were you supposed to order, and did you guide them on any of that? Because after this order is done, you're not the order taker for any more. Like, you're just the person that supports them on their health journey. Like, I always try to nail that because it's like, that's when I know they're integrated. That's where I know where they're at. That's where I know where like the whole layout's going forward on this stuff. Like, I've set the tone by the time they update that order. Does that make sense for everyone? Like, someone was looking at a lot of our orders recently. They're like, you have a lot of integrated clients. Like, this person's been a client forever. I go, yeah, I taught them how to be healthy for life. Like, and they're like, this person's been a client since 2001. I'm like, yep, they have been. And they've done amazing, and they kept up their health. This person that they were talking about wasn't a coach, but still. So what you do is you take your health assessment out of that first folder, and you put it out of the new client folder, and you put it in the maroon folder right here. That's what you do. And by that time, for me, every time I slide one over, it's a pulse check in my brain. Okay, where are we at with coaching on this person? Like, where are they at? And not just like, are they a coach yet? Just like, mechanically. Where is the actual fit with them? Like, coaching is a match of how this is going to help their optimal health journey continue along down the line. So I want to ask that. Also, another pulse check for me, and Susan covered it last week, I think, a little bit, was, have I got a referral from them yet? Like, that's another thing that I'm kind of curious about too. Like, have I got a referral from this person that I'm building this relationship with? It's kind of a pulse check of how well I'm doing finding out what's going on in their life, because they don't live in a cave, so they probably have people that want to get help with this. And I want to get people around them on program too that they can do this with, because their percentage of success rate goes up a ton if they're doing that. So that's kind of like week 1, and then everything from there is just moving forward one step at a time on their health journey. You might need to switch up plans, and actually, because tonight's call, I had like some computer issues. I'm gonna do a live that kind of just does Q&A on this, so we can have a standalone recording on it that can answer some of you guys' questions. I want to be able to answer questions on this topic, but the reason why on the health assessment that it's so important not to just go in right away talking about 5 and 1. because number one, we talked about it on it. Dawn's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is obviously an important point. Let me see. I'm going to go to this. Go right here. No, we're not going to talk about that one. But the reason why it's so important to let them know that we have different fueling plans is, let's say they do have a hard first week. Or first of all, like, just because, like, you know, if you have different options and you're discussing options, you're not saying yes or no to something. You can't say yes or no to options. So the other reason is when they hit that first hiccup, are you going to be able to say, hey, should we switch? Should we check out that 4-2-1 plan? Or is it time to go to 3-3-3 for a season, or 3-3 for a season? See how programmed I am to do a 3-3-3? That's why you want to get that ahead of time, because so many people, like, I think everyone's like had this experience where a person just cancels. Like, well, I just can't do 5-1. It's like, oh man, we didn't even get a chance to talk about like other plan options because it was never brought up ahead of time. Or there'll be different seasons. There'll be the holidays. There'll be one of my clients who's going to Italy for a few weeks. Like, there's all these things that are going on, and we got to make sure we get out in front of this so that they know which plans to jump back and forth on when need be. Or like when they hit their goals, like knowing that there's plans after the plans for their goals, so you're talking about what to do moving forward on this stuff. So anyways, that's really the difference of creating integrated clients. Integrated clients duplicate themselves. So Dawn, anything else you wanted to add on this too that's been really helpful for you in this, that, like, you know, are helpful for people that you've seen on your team?
I just want to edify what you said about letting them know their plans, because I used to have people that were 5-1 or done or nothing, and that hardly ever happens anymore, because we just switch into the plan that fits their season, or we talk about their goals and they're like, you know what? Nope, 5-1 is what I want, and they get to make the decision. So no, I just want to really edify that, because that was a huge game changer in the longevity of our clients, because we've got clients now who've been clients for 9 years.
Yeah. And actually, because we are talking to the pros, we're all here. I love that we're all here just like honing our skills because we're all doing this. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you switched up someone's plan and taken them from 5-1 to a different plan? And this doesn't happen all the time, and maybe that was one of their biggest breakthrough points, like the fact that they actually like stayed on a structured routine, or that like, yeah, okay, I think that's the answer there. I've had that win too. I've had some of clients' biggest wins moving from a 5-1 to a 3-3 for a season, just to prove that they can maintain and they can be trusted with their results. Like, it's super cool. Anyways, I think this has been a really good topic. We'll talk about diving in a little bit more into depth, but I think the biggest thing that I can even really cover on coaching different plans is just making sure you let it be known that there are other options. This is just a mindset thing from day one, is that we can explore, we can think, we can consciously focus on how we want to move forward. If we posture that from the beginning, our clients' journeys will be so much better. And again, everything duplicates for that whole reason. So anyway, I wanted to thank you, Dawn. Everyone give Dawn a round of applause. That was amazing. Super coach. I wanted to wrap up with just one last piece here, which is finishing the month strong, building on August momentum. And I couldn't really think about something here, or I couldn't really think exactly what I wanted to do, except for that, you know, the biggest breakthroughs in our journey has been hearing how other people broke through. You guys, does anyone agree with that? Like, has that been anyone's? Can you drop me a 2 in the chat if that's been your deal? It's like, I see people's breakthroughs and I'm like, wow, that ends up becoming the way I break through. And so I wanted to grab some of the newer coaches, all coaches new since last year. One of them that is, and they have a history that they've been coaching for a while, but that person makes a really strong recommitment to their business all the time. And just, you know, these are all FIBCs and above, integrated nationals. And at one point they were, you know, tiptoeing on the idea of ED. At one time they were ED for a while, and then something happened where that they became moved to the big thinker, FIBC, integrated national. And I just wanted to grab them for just 1 minute. Like, what's your one tip? If you've been consistent this season, you're right on that tipping point, and it can continue to grow like that. So I just wanted to bring on them to just share their one tip as we go into this next season, because what you do in this next month will really catapult you into the next few months, but also it's going to set the tone for your 2019. I can't even believe we're talking about 2019 already. So without further ado, I want to bring up a whole list of people here and have them share. I'm going to have, since we're on week 5, I'm going to have 5 of them. They're going to share 1 minute each, and then we're going to wrap up and we're going to go into action, setting up the next month, finishing up this month. So Danae, I wanted to bring you on first. Danae, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks, Brad.
Alrighty, so Danae, new FIBC, congratulations. Big figure. Do it all with the kiddos. Share with us, because you were only like going to make $500 with this pack.
Which now I think is a funny joke.
Yeah. Tell us about your takeaway or your breakthrough point.
So for me, looking back, if I could rewind and tell my pre-ED self something, I would tell her that she really needs to use her MAP to its full potential. Like that thing should be ratty and tatty and just disgusting. Like mine has apple juice on it this month because it's been in the bottom of my purse and been leaked on by my kids. So it has gone everywhere with me. It's traveled out of the state. It goes to every class that I have for my kids. So use your MAP, follow the system, and then truly, truly lean into your mentorship team. So not just, okay, yes, but do you come to those like times with your mentorship team ready and prepared and ask those questions to say, how can I do it better? If I'm feeling anxious, sharing that with them. If you're feeling kind of a little out of control, reach out to them and say, what can I do better to follow that system? And they will truly help you. So there you go.
Great point. I've been learning not to reemphasize things and just let them be amazing on their own. So nice, incredible. All right, let's move over to Lisa Yeakley. Lisa Yeakley, new integrated national, recent shedder of other responsibilities. Talk to us about your one tip. Was she able to get on tonight? Maybe not. Or I'm mute.
Yeah, she was there.
She was there. Well, Lisa is also. Can we say, Denise, what she's doing? Is it okay? You want to say first, and she's not on?
Yeah, after 25 years, she's closing her hair and beauty salon, to do Optavia full time, and she's
there. She's there.
Is she?
Yep.
Can you unmute? After 25 years, though, she is so thankful for Optavia. She'll be on in just a second, right, Lisa?
Let's see if I can find her. No, she's unmuted, but I can't hear her. All right, we'll try to come back to her. All right, I'm going to move forward to Jason. Jason, my man, are you there?
I'm here, Brad. Thanks so much, man. Gosh, what an honor to be here. So, yeah, 1 minute. That's quick. So here's my takeaway. I got to sit next to this really cool guy at a Baltimore Orioles game at the FIBC conference, and his name was Dr. A, and he gave me a tip. And I was complimenting him on how amazing this business is and how easy he makes it for us. I mean, I was telling him, Dr. Ray, like, you've got a video for everything. I think you've created a video on how to watch a video. And he said, here's the deal. And he looked me in the eye and he leaned in and he said, no shortcuts. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't take shortcuts building this business. Optavia wasn't created overnight. And then I got home and it hit me. Like, he was talking to me. He was like, hey, Mr. Health Coach guy, we don't want you taking shortcuts, because we all do it, right? And when we do that, like, the very nature of that definition is cutting yourself short. So I was looking for ways that I could cheat the system to do better, do faster, do whatever. So it finally sunk in. And after listening to amazing people, even you, Brad, I mean, what I've found is watching your video on the Tara's Kitchen. My 9-year-old made dinner for us tonight. No kidding. And we ordered food that comes to our door, and she can make dinner. So guess what? I can spend time doing the Optavia way that it's supposed to be done. Because if shortcuts were the way, they wouldn't be called shortcuts. They'd just be called the way, right? But shortcuts, we're selling ourselves short. So we've found time in other ways so that we can make sure that we pour into Optavia the way it's intended to do. Because I took a shortcut out of the gate. I rode on my wife's coattails because she was the first coach, and I just joined her. So we've been figuring out how to save time in our day. I looked at it this way. It's like if you're cutting down a tree and you're using an axe, and then somebody brings you a chainsaw, like, that's not a shortcut. That's just embracing technology. So embrace all the things you can do in your life that can let you spend the time that Optavia has set out. They've got their way, and don't try to shortcut it. So don't take shortcuts.
No shortcuts, work smarter, not harder. I love that. Spend time doing the things you want to do. Great tip, Jason. And also congrats to Jen for not having to go back to school this year. Love that. Except for parent teacher night. All right, real quick as we wrap up here. So Nicole Rodriguez. Nicole, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, Cheryl's girl, integrated national 3rd month. I remember, actually, you're not a new coach since last year. You just were
Is
like.
anybody else frozen, or is it just Brad on my end? Just Brad, Nicole. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry guys. Hey, so what everybody said leading up to this point,
just getting to spend some time with you at the FIBC Summit. Like, you were fully present, you were fully there, and then you were also like rocking your business in the small little pockets of time because you made the commitment and you know you're worth it and you know your team is worth it and the people that you're serving and helping, every single person's worth it. So you just carve out your time and you do it. And I just love it. It's awesome to see that. This is such a great question. Hey, Brad.
All right, I'm back. Yes. So I'm guessing Nicole's was awesome. Lisa is having technical difficulties, as was I. So Denise is going to share her one tip for her.
Okay, first of all, I got to correct myself. She's closing her salon, but she'll still be doing hair because that's her circle of influence, right, guys? And anyway, her one tip is just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
That's a really good tip. All right, going to our last one. So, Lori, pre-ED self, talking to yourself, going back in time. What is your tip? Because you're the one that's been coaching for much longer. You have a great big business, great big milestone in your business this month as well. Congratulations. But what would be your tip to yourself? Because you may not be new, but you do recommit to your business like it's new all the time. That's why you're relevant and why you're such a great coach. So drop a knowledge bomb for us as we wrap up here tonight.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I've been coaching 5.5 years. And if I could go back to my prior self, I would definitely say don't underestimate what's possible. Like, I am blown away, you guys. There's no words to really explain what it feels like when people are popping into your organization left and right and coaches are promoting to executive director and you just are getting to sit back and see this happen. It takes a life of its own. So don't give up. Like, seriously, commit to playing the long game. I think that's my next tip. If you really think about, as we coach our clients, where we look at the victories sometimes as, don't look at just the scale. We want to look for the non-scale victories. So the same thing with coaching and growing a business. We don't want to just look at the rank that you're getting. Look at the bigger picture of what's happening. Look at the capacity of growth that's happening and the people that are coming into your organization. There's so much more to celebrate. And just don't compare. Honestly, I could have quit 20,000 times if I kept comparing myself to everyone else and how much faster everyone else was promoting and this and that. Stay in your own lane, because you don't know where people came from. You don't know what their past experience has been. You don't know their spheres of influence. Stay in your lane, because if you're staying in your lane, you're not getting distracted by looking in a million different directions. But honestly, you guys, I just want to leave you with this. Ask yourself this question, like, yeah, the obstacles are scary sometimes, and sometimes they can stop you dead in your tracks because you're like, I'm scared to go there. This is unknown territory. But if you expect the obstacles to come and just know that your growth is on the other side of that obstacle, that what you're moving forward towards is on the other side of that, and connect with your mentors, because I would not be here without Mr. Brad Miller. And I will just say that right here. They've walked a few steps before you, and they can help you to accomplish whatever it is you're looking for. So thanks for asking me to share, Brad.
Oh man, I hate to even ask for one more thing, because I think we could all just got on this call just for that right there, Lori. But I think just there's so many people that are getting to that point of like thinking about leaving jobs. That's been a really cool topic of conversation for a lot of people. You left the job, but you're one of the few people I knew that were in another industry like this. You had built something up, and then actually, like, and I'm not saying that it's a great thing, but I'm not familiar with it. I've never done anything before, but you built something. It's like a lot of other things that you can do in this arena aren't exactly like, sustainable. And you had a lot of reservations on that as we went through this. Like, is it going to be like that? Could you speak to any of the longevity? Because you've been coaching for how many years now? Could you just give people a snapshot of that for people that have a glimpse of that hope in the future? Because your tip of longevity was so key and so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I had a network marketing business, and it actually grew very rapidly. And I was kind of blown away by the growth, but unfortunately it grew really rapidly and it failed really rapidly. That was pretty intense. I had a lot of money invested. So coming into coaching, I was extremely skeptical. I was honestly, like my poor coaches, I was like running them through the ringer with questions because I'm like, how much money am I going to invest? No, seriously, how much money am I going to invest? Tell me again. So some of the things that are really, really different that I love about this is that we get to hand select who we want to work with, right? Plain and simple. I love that. I love that we're not incentivizing somebody to say, hey, $35, you can get a discount. No, we're not bringing on the masses. We're bringing on and hand selecting people who have a heart to serve, people who want to make a difference in other people's lives. It is completely coming from a heart place, and I love that. The money you invest in yourself in this company is for yourself. Like, we're fueling our bodies with health. You're not having to reinvest and keep samples on hand and $1,000 here, $1,000 here a month to have to keep products on hand and give samples to people. I love that that's very different too. But honestly, you guys, we're not selling anything. And that's what clearly makes us so completely different. We have organic growth. We take care of ourselves. It shows. People want to ask us. People want to reach out. We have hope to offer people. And that clearly makes us very different. So I hope, is that kind of what you're looking for, Brad?
I think it was that and then some. I always kind of gauge it by the chat. So Lori, thank you for sharing just your wisdom, your heart, the mentality. It was the perfect way to end this evening and this month, you guys. I just want to say congratulations to all of you. I'm not even going to bring this slide back up for the action steps because basically it's finish the month strong, go the extra touch, make that extra connection, always do something extra. Next month, we're going to start on Saturday with the boot camp. See you there. We're going to be going over the map and setting up the month, and we're going to be talking about where that purpose really connects with some of these people's tips. I think that was today's tip, like make it rad or tat, get apple juice on it. Apparently that's a secret. So come Saturday, let's set up our month. Let's get really intentional. And it's not just the action you're going to do next month. It's going to be the consistency that you gain, all the rewards from all the seeds you've been planting, all the things you've been learning, all the degrees you've been adding to your business. So thank you for all the tips. Thanks for all you do. I don't even need coffee anymore. I just wake up every day and just like to get after it. So with that being said, you guys all have a great evening. Congrats on a great month, record month. You are all on fire. Keep dreaming big. That was the only other action step I had. Dream big, my friends, just like Lori talked about. All right, have a great night, everyone. Have a great week, or a great night, and a great last day of the month. Oh, last little tip. Last day of the month is for enjoying it. We all know how many days are in a month. So tomorrow, hopefully you're finishing time or taking time to realize what Lori just talked about here for a second as you plan the month ahead and dream even bigger. All right, have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Beckett.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, Lucy?
Hello.
All right, night, guys.